call to order for the February 5th meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Could I get a roll call, please?
Chairman Evan Goodwin, Vice Chairman Joe Small,
Here.
Commissioner Carlisa Fraser, here. Commissioner Jim Hess,
Here.
Commissioner Tim Probst, here. Commissioner Debbie Wonder.
Here.
All right, and we'll move on with adoption of the minutes from January 8th. Do we have any discussion on the minutes? Would I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? All right. The minutes have been adopted. And then we need to move on to election of officers. We'd like to start with any discussion on officers this year.
Still need the wording.
Sure.
Chair, vice chair, and two HRC members.
So before we move into nominations, does anybody have any discussion? Anybody who isn't currently in a chair or vice chair position or HPRC position that would like to be interested? All right. It sounds like Evan is comfortable remaining as chair if we would like that. I would be happy to remain as chair, vice chair. And then we need to also choose HPRC committee members. Would anybody like to make a nomination?
I nominate Evan as the chair, to remain chair.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of Evan Goodwin as chair for the HPC?
Aye.
All right, Evan is elected chair. Any nomination for vice chair? I can nominate, I'll nominate myself as vice chair for the HPC. Yeah. Sure. We have a nomination for vice chair.
Evan, Joe, I'll nominate you as vice chair.
All right, any seconds? Second. All right. All in favor of me as vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. And then we need to, is it 2 or 3?
Two.
2, in addition to the chair and vice chair?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Jim, I know you've been on it. Would you like to?
I mean, I don't know if I have the capacity to be there most Mondays.
Okay. Anybody else who would be interested in being on the review committee? Yeah? I would be happy to nominate Tim Probst to the Historic Preservation Review Committee.
Second.
Everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Tim, you are on the HPRC, and do we have a second member who would like to be on the HPRC?
I'm already on it, so if you just want to, no one else will do it.
Everybody else is in? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to add there compared to you guys.
I mean, I think it would be good to have another set of eyes on it.
Okay.
You'll have other people.
I'll just continue.
So I'll nominate Jim to the Historic Preservation Review Committee.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. We'll move on to old business. The first item, a certificate of appropriate request by Clear Cut Construction on behalf of the owner, William Glover, for a review of a COA HD to allow construction of a new 2-story single-family residential structure of approximately 2,325 square feet and carriage house structure of approximately 1,174 square feet located at 34 Tabby Shell Road in the Tabby Roads development in Old Town Bluffton within the Neighborhood General Historic District.
Thank you.
I just made a quick update to my PowerPoint, so let me bring this up. All righty. As you know, this is an item that's been continued a couple of times. The first initial review was November 6, 2024. It was continued to the January 8th meeting. At that meeting, there was a directive for the HPRC members to meet with the applicants, and we did so back in January after the meeting. And what has been provided today is a response to the previous directives of the HPC. I don't want to spend too much time harboring on or going over the details of this. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Again, this is located in Tabby Roads, 34 Tabby Roads. It is in the Neighborhood General Historic District, Zoning District. Property is currently undeveloped. You see here the landscape plan. The darker gray is the heated square footage. The lighter gray would be the porches and the cart, the area for the golf cart to be stored. Ground floor, second floor plans. We can come back to this if need be. Here is the front view. It does include, you're going to have to make a determination tonight whether or not the powder coated steel is appropriate. They're at the second floor for the railings. One of the concerns previously was regarding the connector height of the roof. And as you can see here, this is what was previously provided, and here is the revision. And you can see that the roof has been lowered. Here is the east or the left elevation. And the revision to that elevation, again, the lowered roof connector. Here is the rear elevation. The revised roof plan, there's an eyebrow roof here over the garage that has been added. Building section, if we need to see this, the foundation plan, as well as the first and second floor plans. There was some questions about the wall details. And I know this is very, very difficult to read, and if need be, I can pull up, make this larger if we need to see that. I do want to point out, and I didn't pick it up in my review, but the columns are shown as a permacast material, which is not permitted by the UDO. So the commission would need to make a determination whether or not permacast is an appropriate material. The door and window details. The review criteria have been met, the 4 criteria that you see here, with the exception of a handful of items that I want to point out. So in our recommendation tonight, staff has identified a few things. I'm sorry, the numbering should have been updated. One is to provide a window schedule to show compliance with permitted materials. With the door schedule as well to show compliance. Identify the type of standing seam material to be used. Identify the type of material to be used for the gutters and show that the downspout materials are also consistent. Show the location of the electric panels. Demonstrate that 75% tree canopy coverage will be provided, and to provide a tree removal permit. There are a few determinations that will need to be made. Again, the permacast material for the columns, that is not consistent with our UDO. The powder-coated steel material for the second floor porch railing, and then the use of an alternate material for the garage doors, which is a composite material. The actions tonight you can approve as submitted by the applicant, approve with conditions, or deny the application as submitted this evening. With that, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Do we have any questions on the staff presentation before we hear from the applicant? Okay. Thank you, Charlotte. Is the applicant present, and would you like to present? If you would, please state your name and your relationship with the project for the record.
I'm Sawyer Graham. This is Preston Glover. We're Sea Island Construction Group.
Thank you.
The permacast, they're going to be, it's treated. treated pine, pressure treated pine, so that's a mistake. We will correct that. It's standing seam aluminum. And then I remember discussing with Evan, powder coated steel had been approved in this neighborhood multiple times, so we felt we were okay to stay with that. But yeah, we updated all the details to match the elevations, provided a bracket detail, and pretty much everything else that she said. All the doors are gonna be wood, and all the windows are gonna be Marvin Elevate series, which are always used in downtown Bluffton. So I think they're it's like a fiberglass material that's it's wood clad with that. We can update the window and door schedule if that's necessary to state that. But that's pretty much it.
Great. Do we have any questions for the applicants before we go into discussion?
As long as you update the window schedule, like you say. And Devin approved the powder-coated metal railings?
We haven't approved it. We've had discussion about it several times, that there are multiple similar railings in the immediate vicinity that have been installed in the past. And we haven't made it to a vote, but everybody's been kind of leaning in that direction.
It already exists, right?
Right. There's other examples that they were able to reference in relation to this.
I have a question. So what is the railing? Because it's not really called out in the drawings.
There's a detail for it. It's powder coated. We're either powder coated aluminum or powder coated steel. We'll probably go powder coated aluminum.
But I mean, what is it, flat bar? It's
I don't know if you pull up the detail.
And the wall section's not called out on that. See the wall section?
A4013, handrail detail.
What page is that on?
Yeah, it's in the middle. It's up.
It's not on that.
Might be to the
It's
left.
not 400 too.
It's on there. It's a standalone detail. Yeah, it's right there in the
Okay,
center.
okay, I missed it.
Powder-coated steel.
On the elevation, it says 36 inches from grade. That it's gonna be 30 inches, right? Not, because we don't want to trigger a handrail on that first floor.
Right.
Okay. Just to be clear, because I saw that that's minimum 36 inches on there.
Yeah,
Considering that's what elevation.
per the UDO, the finished first floor has to be 36 inches from average adjacent sidewalk grade. So that's what we're going for, and 30 inches from immediate grade at the bricks right there.
Okay, so that will be 30 inches. I just want to make sure we don't get a handrail on that.
Right.
And then one last thing on the, you can go back to the wall section, I'm sorry. On that. So on the, how are we draining that water onto that deck? Is it weep holes? Is that what it says?
Is this the one you would like to see?
So, yeah, A402, I don't know if we can read that. So, you had it? Yeah, right there, the middle one. So draining that out of there, how do you anticipate doing it? Weep holes, are you gonna hold that? It's kind of unclear how that water's getting out of that deck on the second floor.
I guess we'll have to do weep holes. If we're gonna put a piece of trim around the front, how he has it drawn, then we would have to do weep holes in that.
Can we hold that? I mean, I'd rather, instead of having weep holes and having holes through it, can we pull that trim out?
Yeah.
Flashing?
Flashing.
Pull it out, just for it out, even a half inch, just so water can drain out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Instead of having drilled holes in the.
Absolutely.
I think that's what's called on there.
Absolutely.
You see, I can't see it on there. Is that what it's, does it say weep holes?
Oh,
Yeah, it says weep holes. It says weep holes on it. So if we can do, instead of weep holes, hold that fascia to the front.
Porch.
There's just a separate note. So it's the same one, A400-2. If if you go up, it says weep holes, right, the tag, go up a little bit. Yeah, right, you got it right there. Right, just up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they've been intending for there to be weep holes in the baseboards and the columns. In the details of the process, but.
Fascia, I don't think it should be on the fascia, I'm okay with a couple on the columns, but in the fascia, we're gonna have weep holes in the front, and I think it's gonna be,
I agree with you, yeah.
just pull that trim out and then go away.
You basically remove that piece of trim.
What I'm saying is pull that trim out a ½ inch, so water can just drain out there. So it can go through there, so that front, it's, you're not gonna really see it. Instead of having holes through that, you're gonna, through the whole fascia.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're
But
just
you
pulling
don't,
it
you
out
don't
and
need flashing because there's already a membrane. The water would just drain out, right?
right, it's just a kick flash and it gets water off of there, so it goes over the edge. So it'll go over that trim, so there's two pieces of trim there.
Right, it'll go
So
over
I'm
the
talking
one
that
below.
top trim,
Yep.
move that out, just even a ½ inch.
Yeah.
Let the water drain out. There's not gonna be a lot of water in there, but we don't want it to get.
Yeah, pretty much like a drip edge that goes around a flat roof. Okay.
Do we have any other questions or items for discussion? I think you guys have done a nice job of updating the plans in this last round and getting everything labeled, and addressing our comments through the previous process, so I think we appreciate that. Do I have a motion? Would anybody like to make a motion? I think the other thing we should discuss, is the wood composite as an alternate material for the garage doors, probably before we get to there, because in the motion, we're gonna have to address that and the powder coated steel. If the permacast columns are gonna be wood, so. The garage doors, that's just an overlay garage door with a composite material and then a steel face. Is that what you guys were expecting there?
What was the last part you said?
The garage doors,
Yeah, you said steel face? Is that what
is it all composite?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
We can show you the exact model. They've been used in this neighborhood, like there are like 10 houses at least in this neighborhood that have them. They look like a carriage house, but they're,
It's a composite material.
they're CHI doors, yeah, it's
Okay.
a wood composite, yeah.
Yeah, any thoughts on that?
I'm okay.
I think it's a pretty typical garage door, that's been used a lot down here. I don't think a lot of people are installing true wood garage doors application, so I think I would support that. Great. So would anybody like to make a motion? And in the motion, we just need to make sure that we are addressing those two determinations for the powder coated steel handrail and the wood composite garage doors.
And I apologize, I may have missed something while you were talking. With regard to findings, the weep hold, is that a condition that you also wanted to add?
Yes.
You want to make that motion and add it to the staff comments?
Yeah. Do you want to make the motion for the whole thing, or do you want me to
Yeah.
make it from there? Make a motion to.
A motion could be something like a motion to approve with the, staff comments and then add any comments and then what your thoughts are on the determinations.
So you can make a motion to approve staff recommendation with the additional condition of the weep hole and the determination that wood composite and the powder coated steel railings are appropriate.
Also, say that number 6, the 75% area is shown on the landscape plan, and then number 7, we did submit the tree removal permit. Richard, we got that right? Yeah.
Okay, and as long as you guys have done that stuff, staff can address that, and then it doesn't matter if we can include that in here and it won't be an issue for you.
Make a motion to approve staff findings, along with removing the weep holes and pulling the fascia, top fascia out, great drainage. On fascia trim.
So moving,
Top fascia trim out a half inch, moving weep holes. Correct. Pulling out the top fascia trim, half inch.
and pulling out.
Top fascia trim.
Is she spelling it wrong?
Great drainage.
You also eliminate the windows.
Eliminate the weep holes.
Okay.
Yeah, remove weep holes. Not moving.
And then there were two determinations. We found out that the permacast columns will actually be wood, so we can remove that one. And- Sorry. And then would commission be approving the powdered coated steel and the composite?
This is all still your motion.
So, do I,
So if you would like to approve both of those, you need to state so.
yeah, and move to approve staff recommendations 1 and 2.
All right, do we have a second? Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So the application has been approved. Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, new business. A request by Christopher Epps on behalf of owners Jay and Lori Sofianik for review of a COA HD to allow construction of a two-story carriage house of approximately 1,199 square feet at 17 Lawrence Street in Old Town Bluffton Historic District, so neighborhood general HD, with a COFA as noted on the screen.
Thank you. This particular property is located on Lawrence Street, and you can see the property here in red, kind of unusual shape. The property is zoned neighborhood general, and you can see the location here, approximately where the carriage house is proposed in the corner. Here's a site photo, the existing house you see here. The arrows pointing to the approximate location of the proposed carriage house. Here's the existing site. There is a gravel driveway, and the carriage house will be located approximately in this location. The one thing to point out here is that there is a large 42-inch live oak in front of the carriage house, which will include 2 vehicular bays. The bay located here, there's a little bit of a concern how this might work, so the driveway needs to be shown, reconfigured. If the intent is to have vehicles or anything else to pull in there, we want to make certain that this live oak is protected, so we would request more information. Here is the foundation plan. Again, the 2 bays located here. There is a side garage door on the north of the building. On the side, there would be a stairwell to the second floor residence. The porch underneath will have the service yard, and the location of the porch and the service yard is appropriate. It can be at least 3 feet from the property line, which it is, so that's appropriate. Here is the elevation. Consists of hardy plank siding. The roofing material for the second floor would be architectural shingles. And then on the ground floor level, standing seam metal. The porch, the railings will consist of wood. Here is the rear elevation. The side elevations. sections, wall section information. One thing that we will need is to know the soffit material and the configuration. Some additional details here as well. The review criteria, there are 4. The plan that's been provided by the applicant does comply. There are some conditions, however, that would need to be met. Our recommendation here, and I somehow forgot number 2. One is to show how the driveway will be reconfigured for access to the left bay of the carriage house. Provide a top rail that is a minimum of 2 3/4 inches. 3, provide a beaded or quarter-round inset trim mold for the corner boards. 4, identify the soffit material and configuration. And then 5, show all building materials indicated on the project analysis on the plan sheet. And for the most part, the applicant has done that, but also to include the door and window materials. And with that, staff is making a recommendation to approve the application as submitted with the 5 conditions.
Thank you. Any questions on the staff presentation? All right.
The location of it is 3 feet off the property line, right?
It is.
Okay.
And you can see here, and it's not the carriage house itself that's 3 feet off, it's the porch, the stairwell and the porch, which is permitted.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Is the applicant present and would like to present?
Sure.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Chris Fretz, I'm with Circle Architecture. I'm the architect on this project. I believe you have the wrong elevation, by the way. We've had problems during the conceptual meeting, and obviously now they sent out the wrong drawings for you guys.
Okay, do we have,
So, but we'll go from this. Apologize for that. I'd like to just go down each finding and address each.
that would be great. Thank you.
Oh, good. We can.
Oh, I don't, sorry, you have actually, you have control of the laptop and the presentation if you want to use the arrows to go back and forth.
This was a little different than, I was on this board from 2012 to 2020.
Sure.
I'm the one who started conceptual,
Back
so
when
you
I
have me to
was in
blame
the-
for that one. So, am I getting close to staff findings?
If you were going backwards, you're probably heading in the right direction. There you go.
Okay, the driveway is, in the live oak is the first we've heard of having an issue. We looked and actually stated out and said, I'm from Bluffton. My daughter's 5th generation. I'm actually from Malloy, sorry, not from Bluffton. 5th generation. I've actually denied clients based on cutting live oaks. We've already staked that out. There's minimum damage to a live oak. We'll have somebody come out, address it. Landscape architect will probably be out there, arborist, to make sure that that's not touched. The driveway will comply, and I would just ask for that to be approved for staff level at a conceptual meeting, so it'd be open to the public to see the final design. The top rail, I really don't know where this is coming from. It might be a new one since the railing plan has been approved numerous times in the community, all the promenade, a lot of the stock farm in those areas. So it's a simple 2x pressure treated top rail. The beaded trim corner boards, again, if you even look across the street, and I don't want to sound bad, across the street has the same corner. You know, 2x material, and then I don't know where beaded insert comes from.
I saw that you had that rabbited and the bullet point above that has rabbited as an option for the corner boards.
Soffit material, this is pressure treated exposed eave as per the wall section. We would be more than happy to, I think one of the recommendations is to submit a final, when we start getting our bids back from contractors, submitting a final approval with our window schedules and which ones we're going to be putting in. They are wood, as per the application.
Okay.
And the front is going to, the garage doors, metal or possibly wood. And I believe, I think in my head, any other?
I think on the soffit question, you said that it's exposed pressure treated. That's the rafter tail. Is the soffit, the roof deck above that
It'll be
exposed?
pressure treated.
Oh, that'll be
Yeah.
treated like tongue groove? Okay. I think if we get an updated detail to staff for that, that's probably.
It's on the wall section.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had seen, well, I know these, these
I know
plans may not be the
It's kind of
latest
hard to
plans.
really kind of look at them because you got so many things and we're all kind of busy people.
Mhm.
And I appreciate how much you guys are volunteers and how long, I've been there, I know. I was the only professional seat for many years. So, yeah, this wall section here, this part comes out and details exactly how that looks. I do my drawings a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that approach before. I didn't see,
Well,
I didn't see where you've got plywood drawn coming down on top of the exposed rafters, but that note doesn't say what the material is between the siding and the fascia board in that, underneath the plywood there, because the exposed plywood is not in.
It's probably going to be it's probably a 5/4.
5/4.
1/2. Yeah.
Okay.
To give you more detail, that comes from, I interned under Mike Vaquero, so we did a lot of Bluffton, and that comes from that detail.
Okay.
As you know, we copy and paste architects.
Sure.
You don't really do much drawing. We make pretty pictures, but we just copy and paste, really.
Exactly.
So, and I think one of the issues from pre-app, we made the lever window smaller, made that, the belt, as everybody used to call it, a little smaller. It was a lot taller to begin with, and we made it, because of live oak, we made it shorter, and to keep in line with the main building.
Did your updated plans include an adjustment to the driveway to negotiate the live oak?
I didn't get that response. I didn't know I needed to do that.
Okay.
Isn't that one of the?
Wait, could you explain the drive orientation on the site plan for us? Because I think there was.
I would have included in this application, but that was because of the confusion with the plans that were submitted during conceptual. I didn't get that feedback, so I didn't include that in my plans.
The site plan here, is that just showing the existing drive?
Showing the existing drive here.
So it does, is the.
Well, in this
well,
area, it's actually, he's just storing a car on inside. It's not on a lift, and that lift comes in. So there's really not much expansion there.
So the left side garage door that's towards the top of the plan
Right
here, is the driveway going to be extended to
It's
capture that
gravel,
door?
permeable.
Gravel, and then I think that's where staff would like to see and have the.
Yeah, when we given up that set of plans, we would be more than happy to. I think I would prefer to be staff level on that. Do a staff level approval per conceptual meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Where's the live oak that I'm concerned about?
It's right here.
Circle in red.
Got it.
Yeah,
It's the.
What doesn't do it justice is the image that was presented here kind of blocks that view. I think the Zillow listing, you can pull up the Zillow listing, that probably shows it a little bit better.
But it's that live oak, right?
Yeah, it's right here.
And that's
This limb
actually in
would be
front.
the only affected limb if we have to do anything.
But I think staff's concern was mostly a question of where will the driveway be and how close will that be to the tree?
I will actually update the site, and it's not going to, minimum. Let's see if we actually have anything other than that. I used to love it. They started deleting these. The listings used to be able to go straight in there.
Could you just pull the site plan up again? Because I think we understand it's a trunk. We're not really worried about the canopy.
yeah, it's certainly how to get in there. last bay, so it looks like it's pretty much in front of it.
It's 20 feet, 20, 30 feet. It's a good distance. Which one is it?
I think we're going to be able to tell from this particular view here.
I was trying to pull up the other one. I have them on my phone, but I'm not gonna pass out my phone.
Go to image number 6. Site plan.
Are you,
It's the slide 6, yeah.
okay.
So it's actually the red circled one on the inside, on the left.
Right. I mean, look at a car to get in there.
There's already gravel there. If you notice right where, I mean, there's a gravel drive
I
actually.
can see the line there, but I mean, your last bay is where that tree is not?
If I can show you. You see, here, there's already a gravel driveway here.
Right.
So it goes in. So it would only be over
Get
here.
in there around that tree and
Yeah.
get in that last.
So there's no actual vehicle. The vehicle's on this side. This side is a lift that's portable and this side. But it will only slightly bend there.
How are we,
To push it up. As per staff recommendations, that 3 feet away from the fence. We actually had it further down and pushed it back. But that would be a minimal aspect on that live oak.
well, there's a 3-foot setback to the property line for the accessory structure. So you do need to maintain
Oh,
that.
it's the stairway, the stairs.
Right.
That's,
Yeah, but you can't have the stairs be closer than 3 feet to the neighbor's property line.
yeah, well, that's the porch. But, yeah. And
Would you say that's,
It's a porch coming out
Oh,
with
okay.
the stairs.
all right.
Yeah. How are we feeling about if they were to submit a revised site plan for staff review for how the driveway is going to be added onto around the Lime Oak area?
Handle that?
I feel-
and if you feel more comfortable that we can get a landscape architect to draw that up.
I think, I think we would all appreciate having that recorded and having staff
Oh, yeah.
review that against the best
Like I
practices
said
for
before,
constructing around the
I
Live
didn't
Oak.
see that comment until
Sure.
last Friday.
Yeah, well, I think we can do that as an approval condition. That's easy to take care of that. The, the 2 3/4 inch top rail requirement, I was having trouble finding that. Do you guys know where that is in the UDO and where that was coming from as a comment?
H.
515.6H.
There's once one in there about round ones, but because of ADA and all that stuff, couldn't really
Yes.
follow it anymore.
It is directly,
515H.
My copy of the UDO that I had is the one that gets a little bit murky as to what all the numbering and lettering is when you get to that section. That is in the
do you,
porches, the porches section. Yeah, if you have it, that'd be. I'm just curious what it says there.
three D.
Okay. How are we feeling about that requirement? It is stated in the UDO
It is
that's
in
2
the UDO.
3/4. Yeah.
It could be a shutter dog type of thing.
Sorry?
A shutter dog. At one time, there was only one shutter dog approved. It was
Yeah.
an S shape. So every time someone came in with a shutter dog, we had to actually approve the shutter dog because it wasn't in the UDO.
Is there a reason you couldn't just add a 3/4 second piece of trim underneath it and create a composite top rail that's a little bit thicker than just a 2x? You can stick a
Sure, I just see that.
5/4
I'd
in.
be more than happy to oblige doing that, but again, it's kind of a detail that's everywhere in Bluffton. So, but if that's what the committee, the HPC wants to do, the commission would be more than happy to oblige.
Sure. Do you have ideas in your head about where that is?
Old Village Square, which is something else now, the village behind there. All the buildings in the back row on Promenade have them. The two front buildings, including Corner Perk, the two buildings in front of Promenade. A couple of one in Stock Farm. It's a standard.
Does anybody have thoughts on that? I have seen it around town as well.
It's, as a carpenter, it's one of my more standard.
It already exists.
Okay. Any other discussion on the recommendations of the project, the rest of the project?
What is, I didn't see a detail to the bracket. What is the bracket?
That's the only thing. It's going to be site built. I'm thinking of one I built over Shoemakers. You know, that front there.
The elevation almost like it's two pieces together, saying like what?
I think what you'd be looking for is that there's a detail for that.
Yeah, I can more than happy.
I think that the elevation.
That's something I should have given you more.
Can we go to the elevation?
But you, generally, like scale-wise, what is shown in the elevation, you're comfortable with, if you were to provide a
Yeah,
detail?
well, I think one of the issues if you go to the elevation of it.
I'd be more than happy to. We got two different brackets on the building. We've got the ones that are a little bit larger for the garage and the side ones. I'd be more than happy to come up with a detail for that. That is my fault. I should have detailed that better for you.
Yeah, I mean, the other concern I have is I think that roof needs to extend. If you're looking at that building section, that roof needs to have overhang over it a little bit. It's
Which roof?
the roof. So if you look at the one to the left, the garage, where it says garage plate there, that
The
roof
beam
just
set back
stops.
a little bit, yeah.
It stops right there.
Yeah, it's not showing.
It needs an overhang over that bracket.
Yeah, it has a little bit. I'll be more than happy to do that.
And then the other thing is the beam on it. And, I mean, needs to extend beyond the roof. If you look at the front elevation, they seem to stop short, which in reality, a beam needs to go beyond there. You kind of see the beam right there, it stops short of that roof. It would need to extend to carry that last rafter.
Right.
So it kind of, the shadow's hiding it.
But it's scalloped.
It's a curve.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And
the
then
other
the-
elevation that has it stops short. It could go to another,
The bottom of it is.
no, I understand that, but I thought there was another elevation that didn't have that to the end. I think it needs to stick out beyond it.
So beyond the fascia board, it sticks out.
It
to the
sticks
fascia
out beyond, has a piece of cap flashing on top of
Yeah.
it, so that picks up that last. Go back, I think you just missed it.
I can go to an elevation if we have a side
Yeah, you
elevation.
see right there, look at that one, I mean, it stops short, so it wouldn't pick up that last rafter.
It's
That's
hitting
the
that last rafter
So
here.
look at the
It's
top
Yeah,
one.
it's stopping flush.
Look at the top one on it. It looks like it's.
This one?
Yeah, it looks like it's short.
That might be just a drafting error, like a Revit error. And so it will be, that one, yeah,
Bottom
that
one
one's
looks
a
like it
little
does
off.
extend, so they just need to match.
Be more than happy, I'll take that.
On the stairs itself, did you look at all the landing? It looks, someone conservative think it's really long.
It's below 12 feet between the bottoms. and the
Very
tops.
close to 12 feet. Yeah, I know, I just,
My original design, I had it going out a little bit further. The client did not want that. The client wanted a straight stair. So it was one of the reasons why we actually lowered to make sure that that landing didn't have 12. And then I have CMAs in there that says, if it's above 12, we'll go that. And obviously, if that does happen, we have to come back for an approval for a modification on that. And the contractor knows that if it's built before we get that, there might be some reaming going on. So it is 12. Let's look.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is, I mean, I know it's 12 is code requirement, just the scale of it just being so long, and if you look at doing a landing, maybe turning it, so it's
Again,
not as
it's
long.
something the client, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make them drink it.
I get it.
If it's something that you guys would like to see, I'd be more than happy to add it.
Does anyone else have thoughts on it?
And in fact, I think one of the original versions has it, if you want to see. One of the original plans we submitted had it.
Yeah, I mean, it's long. I don't recall what we saw at HPRC.
And it's a lower, and my steps are a little bit, I don't do a full height step. I do like a 6.5, I do lower.
Little
people.
easier. I mean, I think given its siding on the lot and the client desire for it, I think it's all right.
I mean, it's a big effort if you were to change it.
Yeah. But I'd be more happy to redraw it if you need me to.
I mean, I think the brackets are the important thing. And,
I'll update those, Nick.
my biggest concern is the car getting in that second bay, so showing that works.
I'll get a landscape architect to actually draw that up, so I can do it, it's an easy thing as an architect.
Yeah.
To make sure that it's done correctly, I'll make sure we can get I'll try my best to get the landscape architect out there. This one I work with. So.
We got a little bit lost in discussion there, but you started by saying these weren't the plans that you had submitted. Is that?
I think the plans that were attached to later pages were correct. It's just the ones that were used for elevations look like they weren't. Because one of the issues during our conceptual was architectural, putting that language in. And so the ones that were submitted for final had that language in it.
Okay. Can we verify the date on what was at least sent out? Because we all reviewed these from the
So if you saw the
PDF that was sent out, not necessarily a slideshow.
if it's the one that's online,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, if that's the right one, then
And anyhow, we're going to be submitting ones to be approved during a conceptual meeting. And so that would be the most updated, and we could say our concerns are these, make sure that's approved.
Okay.
For your direction, I guess.
Well, I think if we make a motion and if it's to approve, then it's going to staff review from this point. So I don't think you'll be back for conceptual unless you make some drastic changes to it. I mean, I think, given his comments and the fact that we reviewed the right things online, I think I'm comfortable with moving forward with the motion if anybody has one to make, if everybody else is.
Corner boards.
Sorry?
Address corner boards.
Yeah, do we have any discussion around corner boards? My thought was that the UDO in the section above the requirement that notes the bead or the quarter round inset allows for rabbited corners. And he's got rabbited corners that have a 3/4 inch reveal on there.
What does the actual house have?
The 3/4, it's
You're gonna have good eyes for that one too.
Now, yeah, that
we can change that language to match existing corner boards on the main house.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be comfortable with that as well, if you guys would. Yep. All right, any further discussion or?
What's the actual, the louver vents? Are those actual louvers, or it looks like it's spray foam, but it's called out as louvers, or is that gonna be a faux louver?
Most likely.
But that's a wood louver and it'll actually have blades. Yep.
It's not.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure it's not applied.
The particular contractor I think we're going to go with, and I'm going to push with, is a finished carpenter and has a whole shop. So he's going to want to actually build everything site built, so show off him.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I think team's concern would just be that it's like a party lap.
I think there's
Yeah.
a feet that can go to 13, slide 13.
And then we had, I think there was also an issue before with this being a false window, too. But it wasn't in the,
I had
Oh, no,
raised
I
that,
think it
I,
was-
and I think, you know, I think I made that comment and you had more of them. And given its location and our discussion about there being,
it's in the closet.
fixed shutters with operable hardware and shutter dogs in Old Town, around Old Town, that I was comfortable with that. I don't say
I'm fully comfortable with that, I think.
a concern about the fixed shutter.
Yeah, I don't like them, but not having it there. kind of-
Having symmetry is appreciated.
I know we're not allowed to use architectural term weird, but,
Yeah. Bluffton's eclectic, so,
oh, there you go.
yeah.
And I'll fix that shafting error, a modeling error on this.
Brackets. I mean, along with having a bracket detail, actual detail.
That's my fault. I'll take credit for that.
Right. Anybody have anything else? Would anybody like to take a stab at a motion?
Make a motion, for staff recommendations and to add, what is it, that one piece to meet the boards above the door on the top floor?
I think it's a little more than that.
Yeah.
Why don't we, if you don't mind, maybe we could just back into this. So we did talk about the driveway previously to allow, to show the reconfigured driveway, and that will be a staff level review. I'm probably not wording it exactly right for the motion, but we need to include that from what I understood. And we could probably just leave one the way it is. And this will be, and I'll just add for review by staff. And I probably don't need to do that because everything here, all these conditions will be staff level review. This is not going to need to return to the Preservation Commission.
Can I add, per staff, just get it reviewed by conceptual meeting? We don't mind sticking a little bit longer and just go to a conceptual meeting so you guys can see it and be approved by staff based on that recommendation.
If I understand that correctly, perhaps having the HPRC take a look at the revised.
Yeah, we can, I mean, the planning commission does this a lot, has it be reviewed by staff and the members of the HPRC, and that's a pretty easy email around process.
Okay. We used to actually have to go to that meeting, so nothing more on that. Because the public needed to see it.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I am happy to make the motion if that's easier. So I will motion to approve the project with the staff recommendations. One, staff recommendation here, well, in my paperwork, it's noted 2, we're not going to include 2, the top rail. And for staff recommendation 3, we're going to require that the corner boards be listed as to match existing. And then with staff recommendations for 4, 5, and 6 included.
And to provide the bracket detail.
The bracket detail is 5.
Okay.
My numbering is different than yours.
It is, I'm sorry, I just eliminated some things, and now the numbering's
So the
not
3 here would be,
updating automatically.
to match the house, yep. The soffit material, keep that one. And then the bracket detail is the one that is missing from here. That's listed in the application packet as recommendation number 5. have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the project has been approved.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
I know that was kind of a long one for just a garage. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it was a healthy discussion, so we appreciate that. All right, moving on to our final item for the night, public project, a request by Meters, Inc. on behalf of the town of Bluffton for recommendation to the UDO administrator to allow the reconstruction of the Sarah Riley Hooks Cottage, a contributing resource located at 76 Bridge Street in the Old Town of Bluffton Historic District and Zone Neighborhood General HD.
Good evening, everybody. So, as mentioned, this is a public project. Tonight, you're not approving anything. You are going to make a recommendation to the UDO administrator to approve the project, but we are taking that approval with your comments. So tonight, you're just making comments. Let me take you through the project, beginning with where the location is. This is number 76 Bridge Street. The parcel is actually 72, 74, and 76 Bridge Street. So it's those three lots on the north end of Bridge Street. Zoning is neighborhood general. Since I am the historic preservationist, I thought I'd show you some old photos. This is a historic photograph from 2001, when the house was occupied last. 2008, you'll see a minor change in those 7 years. Current condition, this was taken last week. This is the best side of the house. A little bit of background, 2002, the house was left vacant when the former owner passed away. 2008, we designated as contributing to the local Old Town Bluffton Historic District. In December 2020, the town purchased the property. In 2022, beginning actually in 2021 into 2022, staff conducted periodic inspections of the property, which led to this becoming a strategic planning item for 2022, where we started looking at future use possibilities. Metters Inc. was contracted for a conditions assessment. January 10, 2023, we took it to town council at a workshop to present that report that Metters prepared. Council at that time asked for additional information on cost estimates for the project, some options, rehabilitation, demo, et cetera, with the stipulation that the project would be used for public use. April 18, 2023, we took it back to town council at the quarterly CIP workshop and discussed the structure and the master plan options for the project. And then in later in 2023, Metters Inc. was contracted to do the architectural and engineering services, and then J.K. Tiller and Associates were contracted to do the landscape. Let's talk about what Metters did. So Metters' plan is to save whatever is possible in the current structure to be reused later. On the left hand, you'll see the existing configuration of the house. And then on the right, everything in red, in essence, would go away. Everything in gray would be left behind to be reused. The proposed new construction would be to build a new version of the historic cottage. The current cottage has a historic structure with 2 additions out the back. Those back additions would actually go away. And then we'd be just concentrating on the historic core again. Again, using whatever historic materials we could, but it basically would look like it did before, obviously meeting all current building code. Side elevations showing ADA accessibility, and then reconstructed elements of the historic building. Interior, this would be what the interior floor plan would look like. Again, just limited to that historic core. We use the same review criteria we do in everything else with a certificate of appropriateness. We're looking for, in essence, consistency with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, the guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, the principles set forth in the Old Town Master Plan, the goals set in the Bluffton Comprehensive Plan. Does the project conform to provisions provided in the UDO under Article 5? And does it demonstrate a compatible visual relationship with the surroundings? We also look at section 318.5B. Since it is contributing, and it will remain contributing until town council says otherwise, the demolition of contributing resource is generally viewed to be detrimental to the integrity and the status of the Old Town Bluffton Historic District. In this case, based on the history of the resource, the reason for the request, the report that Metters submitted as part of the application, the evidence that demolition is required, there's no other reasonable alternatives to demolition exist in this present situation. The work proposed satisfies this requirement. Other notes, again, the construction of the new structure will utilize as much historic material as possible. And again, the Sarah Riley Hooks Cottage will remain a contributing resource to the Old Town Bluffton Historic District until such time as town council deems otherwise. So again, this is a public project. Your task tonight is to recommend that the UDO either approve the application as submitted, approve the application with conditions, or recommend that the UDO administrator deny the application. But with those recommendations, we will take your comments to the UDO administrator. Do you have any questions for me as the historic preservationist?
Any questions?
At what point are we going to know how much of the current house is going to be able to be utilized?
At this point, it appears very little will be able to be utilized.
So is that 5%, 10%, 2%?
Not a betting person. It's probably going to be less than 5% based on current condition and the fact that it's been sitting for years, and has also gone through several cycles of bad weather recently.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if the family of raccoon are still residents in the house or not, but there's also termites and other
Understood.
damage.
How much are we making commentary on now? The entire project or just the demolition, the overall concept?
So you're commenting on what we're doing with the current structure, and then what we're going to be doing is the new construction.
Okay. And then the UDO administrator is the final review. This doesn't come back to us at any point.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Was there a different plan submitted? Because I swear I saw one that had 4 drinking fountains on it. So
Say that again?
it had drinking fountains on the outside. Was I seeing that?
So there is a landscape plan that's gone through the planning commission, that's been reviewed by them. Your purview is the actual historic architecture of the building.
Right, but I swear there was a plan in there that had drink fountains on the outside. Did I see that differently? And it had a metal door on the back of 88?
There is,
There are interior elevations in there.
I swear there was another plan that was submitted that, what I'm concerned is that, yeah, if you go to the elevation right there, well,
that one.
that one, right, that door, because that goes in the bathroom, right?
That's right, that's a public bathroom.
There was a metal, I thought I saw like a metal flush door on that, and it had a drink fountain next to it. Did I imagine that?
So in plan, there is a high-low water fountain on that wall to the left of the door. Not that plan.
But also the elevation.
It is in one of the plans to show the.
The door was a metal flush door. That would have been my comment. That's not, I mean, I would like to see what's there, which is a bi-panel.
That floor plan looks a little bit. We've got an in-swing door into the bathroom, the outside bathroom on the plan that
Yeah.
we're looking at.
It just looks,
I think that's marked flush.
I mean, this plan is great, and the elevations look great. This is different. I remember seeing different.
It is a very detailed set, that is for
Yeah.
sure. Do you want to flip through?
Yeah, let me see. I swear there was a drink.
That go before HPRC?
It came before HPRC, and I don't know that we had no, it came through DRC as part of.
We also have the project manager, Brian Osborne, here, if you want to have more specific questions about the doors.
Yeah, I mean, right here, there's another set of drinking fountains. That's not on the outside. And then the door
Did you have a concern with the drinking fountains?
No,
or
I'm just
that
curious
the-
why we
that's
had,
separate?
I mean, I understand why there's high-low, but why was there one on the outside and there's also one on the inside? This is my question. Right now, there's not a drink fountain outside, it's on the inside.
This plan that you're showing here is different than the one that was in the packet. A little bit different because there's not drinking fountains shown out on the deck, on the exterior deck. I mean, if you don't have an issue with those being out there, I mean, I think it's, so when you look at the larger site plan, it's part of the Bridge Street improvement that includes a footbridge over the cove, and then a little sidewalk that comes in and traverses the property and is a park, so outdoor water fountains make sense in an environment where you want to like lock
Right.
the building down and still have water fountain amenities for that park.
My concern was less about the drinking fountain, more about the metal door that was on the elevation.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we have a flush metal. Then what this is, and I'd like to see what's on that one, which is a 5-panel, because it looks like all the doors are 5 panels on this.
So the question is, maybe Mr. Osborne can verify if the exterior doors back there are flush, or if they're 5-panel to match what's
Okay.
out there.
That was the question. I mean, I prefer to be this, store 5-panel doors, and flush metal.
Do you have any other questions about, or comments about the project? It seems like you guys are doing a couple of more modern construction things that I think you probably had good reasons for, but one of them was, it's on a slab foundation with, than purlins rather than doing more of a traditional floor. Could you kind of elaborate on that?
Brian, would you like to elaborate on that?
I mean, I think visually from the outside, it's gonna look, you know, for all intents, this is the historic
Yeah,
structure.
the exterior look will look,
Yeah.
more historic.
So we've achieved that goal, and then it's kind of too low to the ground to really do the more traditional floor, because you'll run into all the issues that it has now.
Right.
And the fiber cement siding was a little bit vague. Is that going to be more of a traditional thick fiber cement rather than the thin hardy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
This is what I was talking about, the elevation. You can see it. Just want to make sure that's not what we're getting.
No. The door.
The door. Like next to, the drink fountain, I was just curious what the drink fountain was. It wasn't, didn't have a comment.
I'll verify that door for you.
My only other comment was the soffits looked like they were plywood. I didn't know if that was just kind of a part of the, and maybe I misread the drawing, but I didn't know if that was part of the existing, we approved the existing houses like that. I didn't know if you needed a weigh in from us on that material.
We'll look at the soffit material.
Yeah, if the soffit material behind the raised, or the exposed structures is the plywood or not. Are you reading that the same way?
I don't see any, yeah, it's just. The arrow's not quite on it. Pressure treated.
Have you guys thought about that? I mean, is that the intent?
That's the intent.
And that was the kind of the existing structure, so, I mean, just, that is kind of in direct conflict with the UDO, but we've allowed it before because there are houses.
That's right.
Not for new construction, but if there's an existing condition like that. Okay.
All right.
Any other questions or discussion? Would somebody like to make a motion? If anybody needs to see what the recommendations are, I've got that listed here.
I thought we were just making comments.
But I think we need to make a motion to make a recommendation to the UDO administrator.
I'll make a motion to approve the, the project demolition of the Sarah Hooks Riley Cottage, a tribute resource to a new construct a new structure using as much historic materials as possible on the site.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. And our final agenda item for tonight is the staff approvals. For the historic district monthly update,
And I'm just getting to the right screen.
right?
Scroll down and click it, hold up here.
There we go. So since our last meeting, we have approved several site feature permits. 38 Gerard Avenue is a residential re-roof, 70 Boundary Street, which is the Hayward House. They began a project that was being partially funded by a Town of Bluffton Historic Preservation grant. They're replacing shutters and doing some other exterior repairs to the house. 81 Calhoun Street is a commercial addition of a concrete walkway. Number 206 Bluffton Road, Unit 201 is a sign permit. And number 10 Robertson Street is the First Zion Missionary Baptist Church. They will be installing a South Carolina State historical marker in front of the church. The unveiling will be on Saturday, March 15th at 12 noon. You all should be getting an invitation for that event, but put that on your save the date calendar for March 15th for that new South Carolina State historical marker. We also unveiled the new Welcome Center at the Squire Pope Carriage House this past Monday. If you have not had a chance to go through the house and you would like to do so on a private curated tour with yours truly, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that. You're also welcome to go in on your own and see what the town did over the last 2 years on that public project.
Thank you. Any questions on the staff report? Any further discussion? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.